Tonight, we bring you a Disney Halloween treat. Hello, I'm Michael Eisner.
When going back to the annals of Disney history, few things have sparked so many different opinions as Michael Eisners' reign as CEO of the company. From his singles and doubles strategy that essentially brought Disney's struggling live-action film studio back to the forefront, to his notorious budget cuts following the less-than-stellar opening of Euro Disney. But like him or not, one thing is for certain. Many of Eisner's decisions, good or bad, have had a lasting effect on the company as a whole. But to understand the man and what he accomplished, or sometimes almost accomplished, or sometimes didn't, I think we have to go back to September of 1984, when Michael Eisner took over as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. You see, after a very long run of disappointment and mediocrity after Walt's passing, the Disney Company was struggling to find its identity. And under the leadership of CEO Ron Miller, Disney had become a target of corporate raiders and several takeover attempts. Miller, who was Walt Disney's son-in-law, had lost the confidence of many influential shareholders. So, in 1984, Sid Bass, Stanley Gold, and Roy Disney replaced Miller with three non-Disney executives: Frank Wells, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and of course, Michael Eisner. Eisner was coming to Disney after a very successful run as president and CEO of Paramount. During his time there, he had produced such hits as Raiders of the Lost Ark, Footloose, and Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, if anyone could rescue Disney and its struggling movie studio, surely Eisner was the guy. One of Eisner's first strategies he implemented at Disney was what he called the singles and doubles approach to producing films. This strategy essentially meant, instead of hiring big and expensive talent to produce blockbuster-style films, the studio would aim towards lesser-known and cheaper talent and more story-driven films to create a greater chance of profit with little risk, whereas a larger, big-budget blockbuster-style film had a far greater chance at failure. This strategy worked perfectly and made Disney one of the most profitable studios in Hollywood. Another thing on Eisner's agenda was to give some much-needed attention to the theme parks. He wanted to create attractions that would appeal to the teenage and young adult demographic as well as the young children. This helped usher in attractions such as Captain EO, Star Tours, and Alien Encounter. Eisner also set his sights on expansion and gave us Disney's MGM Studios, Euro Disney, Animal Kingdom, California Adventure, and Disney Cruise Line, just to name a few. Under Eisner, the Disney Company was on the move and growing steadily. Sadly, though, this all hit a little hiccup with Euro Disney. With the success of all the domestic parks, accompanied by the success of Tokyo Disney, putting a Disneyland in Europe seemed like a no-brainer, but problems arose right out of the gate. Their strategy was aggressive, buying up most of the surrounding land and not allowing other local businesses to benefit from the project. This, of course, did not garner any local support, and as far as attendance predictions, well, they were based on those of Japan and US markets, and the assumption was made that they would translate to European markets. Well, they were wrong. They treated Europe as a large mass of people, rather than individual countries that had different cultures. And as different countries vacation differently, the original predictions were just inaccurate. On top of all that, the idea was to market the resort as a complete holiday, encouraging people to stay in their hotels and eat all their meals in the park. The only problem with that was, the resort was only 35 minutes outside of Paris, and the Gate Hotel in Euro Disney was as expensive as the best hotel in the city, prompting many people to just stay in Paris rather than the resort. The marketing campaigns were just as bad, with Disney aiming all the ads at children, despite the fact that parents ultimately made the decision on whether or not to go. In the States, this worked, generally because Disney had already been long established and most parents associated the experience with childhood memories. Not so much the case in European markets. This, coupled with Disney's overconfidence and high ticket prices, led to failure. And this is where the problems begin. That failure led to many budget cuts and canceled plans that still irk Disney fans to this day. First, it was scrapping the highly anticipated Westcott project over in Disneyland. Then it was the dumbing down of Animal Kingdom's ambitious original plans, which instead of giving us Beastly Kingdom, ultimately gave us Dinoland USA and Camp Mini Mickey. Yay. Westcott eventually became Disney's California Adventure, yet another theme park many felt Eisner had built on the cheap, and featured uninspired, dare I say, lower rate attractions. After a disaster of a time trying to bring a Disney theme park to Northern Virginia, the CEO started to leave a bad taste in Disney fans' mouths. I mean, yes, Eisner had helped save the company from the brink of extinction, and yes, he created a lot of remarkable and classic attractions. And yes, he helped usher in the Disney Renaissance period with films such as The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. But was Eisner wearing out his welcome? Had he stayed at the fair a little too long, so to speak? My answer is yes. While Eisner had definitely helped save the company from failure and set them back on the right track, I feel it's quite obvious that he stayed a bit too long, and the company ultimately suffered because of it. I feel the criticism he took over Euro Disney made him a bit gun-shy and seemed to shake his confidence. Instead of forging ahead after the Euro Disney disaster and striking where he knew he could have success, i.e. the domestic parks, he let the experience hinder his decision-making. Instead of going all in and creating high-quality attractions Disney fans are used to, he opted to take shortcuts, which ultimately hurt the brand and led to his demise as CEO. These decisions cast a shadow on his legacy and left his time at Disney in a negative light. Make no mistake, we have a lot to thank Eisner for, but there is also a lot Disney has been setting out to fix since his departure. Animal Kingdom finally got its beastly kingdom in the form of Pandora. California Adventure has slowly gotten a facelift over the years, and attractions people actually want to experience, with Pixar Pier and Marvel Land on its way. And Euro Disney, now Disneyland Paris, is finally starting to turn a profit. The company and current CEO Bob Iger have proven that if you pour money into the product, people will recognize that, and people will come. A concept Eisner could not grasp to a fault. Eisner's time at Disney was beyond a doubt a mixed bag. Like many things, started out strong and slowly began to weaken over time. However, my overall opinion on his tenure was it brought more success than failure, and at the very least, helped shape the company to what it is today. I would have loved to have seen what would have happened if Euro Disney would have been a success. Perhaps it would have gave him the financial confidence to continue to stay aggressive and to reach for the high standards that Disney was known for. But although this didn't happen, at least the groundwork was laid for Disney to build on and learn from his mistakes and his triumphs. So that's got to count for something. So the next time you are visiting Walt Disney World and make a stop over at Dinoland USA, you can smile and say, "Thank you, Michael Eisner." I'm just kidding. God, that land is horrible. I mean, what were they thinking? The Triceratops spin and Primeval Whirl and boardwalk-style carnival games and God, I'm so glad he's gone.